My brother got arrested at my wedding for trying to serve our estranged father with custody papers during the ceremony. My brother and I have been through a lot together, and our relationship has always been complicated. Growing up, our parents were never really in the picture, and we often found ourselves fending for ourselves. As a result, we became incredibly close, relying on each other for support and guidance. My brother is 5 years older than me, and over the years, he took on a more paternal role, helping to raise me and protect me from the harsh realities of our childhood. Our estranged father, on the other hand, has always been a source of pain and conflict in our lives. He was absent for most of our childhood, and when he did show up, it was often to cause chaos and destruction. As we grew older, my brother and I made a conscious decision to distance ourselves from him, trying to create a better life for ourselves, free from the toxic influence he had over us. I recently got married to the love of my life, and it was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. The ceremony was beautiful, with all of our friends and family in attendance, and I felt like the luckiest person alive. But just as the officiant was about to pronounce us husband and wife, my brother stood up and walked towards our estranged father, who was sitting in the back of the room. I had no idea what he was doing, but I could sense the tension in the air. My brother approached our father, a look of determination on his face, and handed him a stack of papers. I later found out that they were custody papers, and my brother had been planning this moment for months. He had been trying to get in touch with our father, to serve him with the papers and finally gain full custody of our younger sister, who is still a minor. But our father had been evading him, refusing to take his calls or respond to his messages. My brother had decided that the wedding was the perfect opportunity to serve him, as he knew our father would be in attendance. But what my brother didn't realize was that our father had been drinking beforehand, and he was in no mood to be served with papers. He became belligerent and aggressive, shouting at my brother and causing a huge scene. The next thing I knew, the police were arriving, and my brother was being handcuffed and led away. I was in shock, unable to process what was happening. My wedding day, which was supposed to be a celebration of love and commitment, had turned into a chaotic and dramatic scene. My husband and I were left standing at the altar, unsure of what to do next. We decided to continue with the ceremony, trying to make the best of a bad situation. But the mood had been ruined, and the rest of the day was a blur. I couldn't stop thinking about my brother and what he had done. I knew that he had been trying to protect our sister, but I also knew that he had gone about it the wrong way. As the night went on, I found myself replaying the events of the day over and over in my head, trying to make sense of it all. I realized that my brother's actions, although misguided, had been motivated by a desire to protect our family. He had been trying to take control of a situation that had been spiraling out of control for years. And as I looked at my husband, I knew that I had to support my brother, no matter what. Update 1. It's been a few days since the wedding, and my brother is still in jail. He's being charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, and his bail is set at $10,000. I've been trying to raise the money to get him out, but it's not easy. My husband and I have been arguing about it, as he thinks that my brother should have to face the consequences of his actions. But I know that my brother was only trying to protect our sister, and I feel a deep sense of loyalty towards him. I've been trying to visit him in jail, but it's not easy. The correctional facility is always crowded and the lines are long, but I finally got to see him yesterday, and it was heartbreaking. He looked so defeated and hopeless, and I could see the regret in his eyes. He told me that he had been stupid, and that he should have found a better way to serve our father with the papers. He also told me that he had been getting threatening messages from our father, warning him to drop the custody case. I'm scared for my brother's safety, and I don't know what to do. I've been trying to get in touch with a lawyer, but it's not easy. They all seem to be expensive, and I'm not sure if we can afford it. I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, and I don't know how to make things right. My husband and I are also having problems, as he's not supporting my brother like I am. He thinks that my brother should have to face the consequences of his actions, and that we should just focus on our own lives. But I know that my brother is innocent, and that he was only trying to protect our family. I feel like I'm being torn in two between my love for my husband and my loyalty to my brother. Update 2. It's been a week since the wedding, and my brother is still in jail. I've been trying to raise the money to get him out, but it's not easy. I've had to take out a loan, and I'm not sure how we're going to pay it back. My husband and I are still arguing about it, as he thinks that my brother should have to face the consequences of his actions. But I know that my brother was only trying to protect our sister, and I feel a deep sense of loyalty towards him. I've been trying to visit him in jail, and it's been tough. The correctional facility is always crowded and the lines are long, but I finally got to see him yesterday, and it was heartbreaking. He looked so defeated and hopeless, and I could see the regret in his eyes. He told me that he had been stupid, and that he should have found a better way to serve our father with the papers. He also told me that he had been getting threatening messages from our father, warning him to drop the custody case. I'm scared for my brother's safety, and I don't know what to do. I've been trying to get in touch with a lawyer, but it's not easy. They all seem to be expensive, and I'm not sure if we can afford it. I've been doing some research, and I think I might have found a lawyer who can help us. Her name is Marley, and she specializes in family law. I've heard great things about her, and I'm hoping that she can help us navigate this complicated situation. I've scheduled a meeting with her for next week, and I'm hoping that she can give us some guidance on what to do next. Update 3. I met with Marley yesterday, and it was a game changer. She's an amazing lawyer, and she really knows her stuff. She listened to our story, and she was appalled by what our father has been doing. She told us that we have a strong case, and that she's willing to take it on. She also warned us that it won't be easy, and that our father will probably fight us every step of the way. But she's confident that we can win, and that we can get the custody arrangement that's best for our sister. I feel a sense of hope that I haven't felt in weeks. I know that it's going to be a long and difficult road, but I'm ready to fight for my brother and my sister. My husband and I are still arguing about it, but I'm hoping that he'll come around once he sees how serious the situation is. I've also been trying to get in touch with our sister, but it's not easy. She's been living with our father, and he's been controlling her every move. I'm scared for her safety, and I don't know what to do. I've been trying to get her to talk to me, but she's not responding to my messages. I'm starting to feel desperate, and I don't know how to make things right. I just want to protect my brother and my sister, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. Update 4. It's been a few weeks since I met with Marley, and things are starting to move forward. She's filed the custody papers, and our father has been served. He's been responding with threatening messages, warning us to drop the case. But Marley is confident that we can win, and she's been guiding us every step of the way. My brother is still in jail, but Marley is working on getting him out. She's filed a motion to reduce his bail, and we're hoping that the judge will grant it. I've also been trying to get in touch with our sister, and I finally heard back from her yesterday. She's scared, and she doesn't know what to do. She's been living with our father, and he's been controlling her every move. But she's willing to testify against him, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to get out of the situation. I'm relieved that she's finally talking to me, and I'm hoping that we can get her to safety soon. I've been working with Marley to get a restraining order against our father, and we're hoping that it will be granted soon. I just want to protect my brother and my sister, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. My husband and I are still arguing about it, but I'm hoping that he'll come around once he sees how serious the situation is. I just want to move forward, and I want to put this all behind us. Update 5. It's been a few months since everything started, and things are finally starting to look up. My brother is out of jail, and he's doing well. He's been attending therapy sessions, and he's working on getting his life back on track. Our sister is safe, and she's living with me and my husband. We're working on getting her into a good school, and we're trying to give her a stable and loving home. Our father is still causing problems, but we're not letting him get to us. We've got a restraining order against him, and we're working on getting a permanent custody arrangement for our sister. Marley has been a lifesaver, and we couldn't have done it without her. She's an amazing lawyer, and she's been guiding us every step of the way. I'm just grateful that everything is finally starting to look up. I'm grateful for my husband, who's been supporting me through all of this. And I'm grateful for my brother, who's been fighting for our sister's safety. I know that things will never be easy, but I'm ready to face whatever comes next. I'm ready to move forward, and I'm ready to put this all behind us. I discovered my parents have been running an unauthorized bed and breakfast in my childhood home while I'm paying the mortgage. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the whole situation, but I'll try to break it down as best I can. My parents and I have always been close, but we've had our fair share of disagreements over the years. One thing that's always been a point of contention is the family home. My parents raised me and my siblings in this big old house, and after my dad lost his job a few years ago, they decided to move to a smaller place. However, instead of selling the family home, they asked me to take over the mortgage payments, promising that they would help with the upkeep and maintenance. I agreed, thinking it would be a good investment and a way to keep the family home in the family. Fast forward to a few months ago, I started noticing that my parents were being really secretive about what was going on at the house. They would always be vague about who was visiting and what was happening, and I would often see strange cars parked outside when I drove by. At first, I thought maybe they were just having friends over or something, but as time went on, I started to get suspicious. Then, last weekend, I decided to drop by the house to pick up some old family photos that my mom had been promising to dig out for me. When I arrived, I noticed that there were a few cars parked outside, and the house looked different. The lawn was manicured, the flowers were blooming, and the whole place looked like it had been spruced up. I walked inside, and that's when I saw it. A sign on the kitchen table that read, "Welcome to our bed and breakfast." I felt like I had been punched in the gut. What was going on? Why were my parents running a bed and breakfast without telling me? I started snooping around, and it quickly became apparent that they had been renting out rooms to strangers. I found a guest book, a pricing list, and even a website that they had set up. I was furious. Not only had they not told me about this, but they were also putting our family's reputation at risk. What if something happened to one of the guests? What if the neighbors complained about the noise? I felt like my parents had betrayed me, and I didn't know how to process my emotions. I confronted them, and they just brushed it off, saying that they were just trying to make some extra money and that I was overreacting. But I know that's not true. They've been lying to me, and I don't know how to trust them again. Update 1. It's been a few days since I discovered what my parents have been up to, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything. I've been doing some research, and it turns out that they've been running this unauthorized bed and breakfast for months. They've been advertising it on social media, and they even have a few reviews online. I'm shocked that they were able to keep this a secret for so long. I've also been talking to my siblings, and they had no idea what was going on either. We're all pretty upset, and we don't know what to do. My mom keeps saying that we're just being dramatic and that it's no big deal, but I know that's not true. This is a huge deal, and it's going to affect all of us. I've been trying to get my parents to see reason, but they're not listening. They just keep saying that they're doing it for us and that we'll benefit from it in the long run. But I know that's not true. They're doing it for themselves, and they're putting our family's reputation at risk. I'm at a loss for what to do. I don't know how to make them stop, and I don't know how to fix the damage that's already been done. Update 2. I had a meeting with my parents yesterday, and it was enlightening. They finally admitted that they've been running the bed and breakfast without a permit, and they said that they didn't think it was a big deal. They claimed that they've been doing it to supplement their income and that they needed the money. But when I pressed them for more information, they got defensive and said that I was just being selfish. Selfish? Are you kidding me? I'm the one who's been paying the mortgage on this house for years, and they're the ones who are putting our family's reputation at risk. I'm not being selfish, I'm being responsible. I told them that they need to shut down the bed and breakfast immediately, but they refused. They said that they've already got bookings for the next few weeks, and that they can't just cancel on people. I was furious. I told them that they need to get a permit, and that they need to start following the law. But they just shook their heads and said that they'll take care of it. Take care of it. How are they going to take care of it? They've been running an unauthorized bed and breakfast for months, and they've been lying to me about it. How can I trust them to take care of anything? I'm starting to think that I need to take drastic measures. I may need to involve the authorities, or I may need to take my parents to court. I don't know what to do, but I know that I need to do something. Update 3. It's been a few weeks since I last updated, and things have been interesting. I decided to involve the authorities, and I reported my parents to the city. They sent someone over to inspect the house, and it turns out that my parents have been violating all sorts of codes and regulations. They don't have a permit, they don't have proper zoning, and they're not even following basic safety protocols. The city official was shocked, and they told my parents that they need to shut down the bed and breakfast immediately. My parents were furious, but they finally listened. They shut down the bed and breakfast, and they're now facing fines and penalties. I'm relieved that it's over, but I'm also sad. I'm sad that my parents felt like they had to lie to me, and I'm sad that they put our family's reputation at risk. I'm also sad that our relationship has been damaged. I don't know if we'll ever be able to go back to the way things were before. I'm just hoping that we can move forward and that we can rebuild our relationship. I've been thinking a lot about what happened, and I've come to realize that my parents are just trying to hold on to the past. They're trying to hold on to the life they had when my dad was working, and they're trying to hold on to the family home. But I know that's not possible. Things change and we have to adapt. I just hope that my parents can learn to let go and that we can move forward together. Update 4. It's been a few months since my parents shut down the bed and breakfast, and things have been healing. My parents and I have been talking a lot, and we've been working on rebuilding our relationship. It's not been easy, but it's been worth it. We've been having family therapy sessions, and we've been working on communicating better. My parents have finally admitted that they were wrong, and they've apologized for lying to me. They've also started to see that they need to adapt to the changing times and that they can't hold on to the past. I've been trying to be more understanding, and I've been trying to see things from their perspective. It's not always easy, but it's been helpful. We've also been working on finding new ways for my parents to supplement their income. They've started taking on part-time jobs, and they've even started selling some of their old belongings online. It's been slow going, but they're finally starting to get back on their feet. I'm relieved that things are getting better, and I'm hopeful for the future. I know that our relationship will never be the same, but I'm okay with that. I'm just glad that we're moving forward and that we're healing. I've learned a lot from this experience, and I've realized that family is not always easy, but it's worth it. I'm just grateful that we're able to work through our issues and that we're able to come out stronger on the other side.
My brother borrowed my car for a job interview, but actually used it as a getaway vehicle for his girlfriend's staged insurance fraud. I'm still trying to process everything that's happened, and I'm not even sure where to start. I've always been close to my brother, and we've shared a lot of things over the years, including my car on occasion. So when he asked to borrow it for a job interview, I didn't think twice about it. I mean, who wouldn't want to help out their brother when he's trying to get back on his feet? He's been struggling to find work for a while now, and I knew how much this interview meant to him. I handed over the keys, wished him luck, and sent him on his way. It wasn't until later that evening that I started to suspect something was off. My brother's girlfriend, Phoebe, had been acting weird all day, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. She's always been a bit dramatic, but this was different. She was nervous and fidgety and kept glancing over her shoulder like she was waiting for something to happen. I brushed it off as mere paranoia, but the seed of doubt had been planted. It wasn't until the next morning that I discovered the truth. I was sipping my coffee and scrolling through social media when I saw a post from a friend of a friend about a car accident that had happened the day before. The car in question was my car, and it was clear that it had been involved in a pretty serious collision. My heart sank as I read the details. The car had been speeding, lost control, and crashed into a pole. But what really caught my attention was the part about the occupants fleeing the scene. I immediately called my brother, but he didn't answer. I tried calling Phoebe, but she didn't pick up either. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. I spent the rest of the day trying to get in touch with my brother, but he was nowhere to be found. It wasn't until that evening that he finally called me back, sounding calm and collected. He told me that he had been in a car accident, but it wasn't his fault. He said that some other driver had run a red light and slammed into him, and that he had to flee the scene because the other driver was being aggressive. I was skeptical, but I wanted to believe him. I wanted to think that my brother was telling the truth and that this was all just a big misunderstanding. But as we talked, I started to notice some inconsistencies in his story. He seemed evasive and secretive, and I could tell that he was hiding something. That's when I confronted him about my suspicions. I told him that I knew he had used my car for something other than a job interview, and that I knew Phoebe was involved. He broke down and confessed they had staged the accident as part of an insurance scam. Phoebe had been planning it for months, and my brother had gone along with it. They had used my car as the getaway vehicle and had planned to split the insurance payout between them. I was shocked and disgusted. I couldn't believe that my own brother would be involved in something so dishonest and deceitful. I told him that I was going to report him to the authorities and that I never wanted to see him again. But as I reflected on the situation, I realized that I wasn't just angry, I was also hurt. I had trusted my brother, and he had betrayed that trust. I had thought that we were close, but it turned out that he was willing to use me for his own gain. Update 1. I've been doing some digging, and I think I've uncovered the full extent of my brother's plan. It turns out that Phoebe has a history of insurance fraud. She's been involved in at least 3 other scams in the past few years, and my brother knew about it. He's been helping her all along. I've also discovered that they've been using the money to fund their lifestyle. They've been living in a fancy apartment, driving expensive cars, and taking luxury vacations. It's sickening to think that they've been using my car to further their own interests. I've reported them to the authorities, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. I'm not sure what's going to happen next, but I know that I need to take a stand. I need to make sure that my brother and Phoebe are held accountable for their actions. I've also been thinking about how I can prevent something like this from happening again in the future. I've decided to be more careful about who I lend my car to, and to make sure that I have a clear understanding of what they're planning to use it for. I've also decided to set some boundaries with my brother. I need to make it clear that I won't tolerate this kind of behavior from him. Update 2. I've just received an update from the authorities. They've arrested my brother and Phoebe, and they're being charged with insurance fraud. I'm relieved that justice is being served, but I'm also sad that it had to come to this. I wish that my brother had made different choices and that he had been honest with me from the start. I've been thinking a lot about our relationship, and I've realized that I need to reevaluate our boundaries. I need to make sure that I'm not enabling his behavior and that I'm not putting myself in harm's way. I've decided to take a step back and focus on my own life. I need to prioritize my own needs and well-being. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know that I need to move forward. I'm going to focus on healing and recovery, and I'm going to make sure that I'm surrounding myself with positive and supportive people. Update 3. It's been a few months since the incident, and I'm still processing everything that happened. I've been seeing a therapist to work through my emotions, and I've been spending time with friends and family who support me. I've also been focusing on my own personal growth. I've been taking classes and pursuing hobbies that bring me joy. I've realized that I need to prioritize my own happiness and that I need to take care of myself. I'm not sure what the future holds for my brother and Phoebe, but I know that I need to move on. I need to focus on my own life, and I need to make sure that I'm not getting dragged down by their negativity. I'm grateful for the experience, though it's taught me a lot about boundaries and self-care. I've learned that I need to be careful about who I trust and that I need to prioritize my own needs. I'm not sure what's next, but I'm excited to find out. I'm ready to take on new challenges and to pursue my passions. I'm ready to live my life to the fullest and to make the most of every opportunity.
My mother-in-law moved in with us after losing her house. Now she's trying to convince my husband I'm poisoning her food when I'm just using garlic. My husband, Eric, and I have been together for over 10 years and married for 7. We have 2 kids, Emily and Jackson, who are 8 and 10 years old, respectively. We've always had a great relationship, and our kids are the center of our universe. About 6 months ago, Eric's mom, Adeline, lost her house due to some financial issues. She's always been a bit of a handful, but we never thought twice about inviting her to live with us until she got back on her feet. At first, it was great to have her around, and the kids loved having their grandmother living with them. She would help with cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the kids when we were busy. However, over time, things started to change. Adeline began to get more and more comfortable, and her behavior became increasingly strange. She would often make comments about my cooking, saying it was too spicy or too salty. I brushed it off as her just being picky, but recently, she started to make some really concerning accusations. The other day, she told Eric that she thinks I'm poisoning her food. Yes, you read that right, poisoning her food. Apparently, she's been noticing that whenever I use garlic in my cooking, she gets these terrible stomach pains and headaches. She's convinced that I'm trying to harm her. I was shocked and hurt when Eric told me about this. I mean, I know Adeline has always been a bit dramatic, but this was just ridiculous. I explained to Eric that I use garlic in a lot of my cooking because it's a fundamental ingredient in many recipes, and it's actually really good for you. But Adeline is convinced that I'm using it to poison her. Eric seemed skeptical at first, but the more Adeline talked to him about it, the more he started to doubt me. He came to me and asked if I was using too much garlic in my cooking and if maybe I should cut back. I was taken aback by this. I told him that I was using the same amount of garlic that I've always used, and that Adeline was just being paranoid. But Eric didn't seem convinced. He told me that he trusts me, but he also wants to make sure that his mom is okay. I understand where he's coming from, but it's hard not to feel like he's doubting me. Update 1. It's been a few days since the whole garlic incident, and things have been really tense around here. Adeline is still convinced that I'm trying to poison her, and Eric is stuck in the middle. I've tried to explain to him that garlic is not poisonous, and that it's actually really good for you, but he just keeps saying that he wants to make sure his mom is okay. I've started to feel like I'm walking on eggshells around the house, never knowing when Adeline is going to accuse me of something else. The other day, I made a big pot of chicken noodle soup for dinner, and Adeline refused to eat it. She said that she could smell the garlic from across the room, and that she knew I was trying to poison her. Eric got involved, and we ended up having a big argument about it. I told him that I was tired of being accused of things that I'm not doing, and that I felt like he was doubting me. He said that he's just trying to keep the peace, but it feels like he's taking Adeline's side. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing my mind. I love Eric, and I know that he loves me, but it's hard not to feel like he's not supporting me in this situation. I've tried to talk to Adeline about it, but she just won't listen. She's convinced that I'm out to get her, and nothing I say can change her mind. I'm at my wits' end, and I don't know what to do. Update 2. It's been a week since the argument, and things have been really quiet around here. Adeline is still not eating my cooking, and Eric is still stuck in the middle. I've tried to make an effort to cook things that don't have garlic in them, but it's hard to find recipes that don't include it. I've started to feel like I'm being punished for something that I'm not doing. The other day, I made a big salad for dinner, and Adeline refused to eat it. She said that she could see the garlic croutons on top of the salad, and that she knew I was trying to trick her. I was so frustrated that I just lost it. I told her that I was tired of being accused of things that I'm not doing, and that I felt like she was being completely unreasonable. Eric got involved, and we ended up having another big argument. This time, it was worse than before. Adeline started screaming at me, saying that I was a terrible person and that I was trying to kill her. Eric tried to calm her down, but it was too late. The argument ended with Adeline storming out of the house and Eric following after her. I was left standing there, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm losing my husband, and I don't know how to get him back. Update 3. It's been a month since the big argument, and things have been really tough around here. Adeline is still not eating my cooking, and Eric is still stuck in the middle. I've tried to make an effort to cook things that don't have garlic in them, but it's hard to find recipes that don't include it. I've started to feel like I'm being punished for something that I'm not doing. The other day, I had a breakdown in front of Eric. I just felt so overwhelmed and frustrated, and I didn't know what to do. He held me and told me that he loves me, and that he's sorry that things have been so tough lately. He said that he knows I'm not trying to poison Adeline, and that he trusts me completely. But then he said something that really hurt me. He said that he thinks it would be best if Adeline stayed with us for a while longer, because she's not doing well on her own. I felt like he was choosing his mom over me, and it hurt. I told him that I understand that he wants to take care of his mom, but that I need him to support me too. He said that he does support me, but that he also can't just kick his mom out on the street. I know that he's right, but it's hard not to feel like I'm losing him. I'm at my wit's end, and I don't know what to do. I love Eric, and I know that he loves me, but it's hard to keep going when it feels like everything is against us. I'm trying to stay strong, but it's getting harder and harder every day.